Hey, what's up? Coach Myers bringing you another edition of Max Effort Muscle Meals. Welcome to my kitchen. Mi casa, su casa. You came to see me, so I'm going to teach you how to cook. I'm going to feed you and get you right. So, if you know me, then you know one of my favorite things in the world is tacos. Well, right now I'm trying to get leaned out for the Team OSG takeover at Muscle Beach. So I can't really smash, 6 or 7 tacos and have the shells with them. So, I'm going to make some delicious taco salad tonight. I'm going to teach you guys how to make it. I'm also going to teach you my special secret, not going to be a secret now, seasoning recipe for taco meat. You can buy the pre-made packets if you want, but those are just really just full of preservatives. It's just basically just a bunch of salt. Yeah, there's salt in mine too, but there's going to be a lot more flavor. I'm going to teach you the keys to making that. Nice simple salad. We're going to saute some onions, some peppers, and a little bit of corn with some cilantro and basil that came right out of my garden today. And we're going to make kind of like a yuki mix to put on top of the meat. It's going to go in the salad, just a nice lettuce base, some goat cheese, avocado on top. We'll make a nice kind of light dressing just out of olive oil, lime juice, and sriracha. It's going to be good. Let's get started. Now you remember from my previous muscle meals, this is the proper way to cut an onion. You're going to cut the ends off, just like that. Cut it in half. Once it's in half, you gotta peel that outer skin off. Once you got the outer skin off, now we're gonna dice it. Nice uniform pieces. Same thing with this one. Oh, just lost one on the floor. That's fine. The key, or one of the many keys, is when you chop up your vegetables, you want the pieces to be relatively the same size so that they cook at the same rate. If you have big pieces, little pieces, then you're gonna end up with ones that are done before the other ones. Now the second onion, when I cut it up, I'm actually gonna save a piece of that. We're gonna use probably, I'm gonna go with about 1/4 of this onion that we're gonna dice very fine, and that's gonna be one of the ingredients in the seasoning mix for the beef. First secret ingredient right there. So most seasoning packets that you would buy for tacos are gonna have onion powder in them, which is fine. But what I like to do is dice up some onion, very fine, and you're gonna add that when the meat's almost done, and it'll kind of just almost like melt into it, get the flavor mixed in there. It'll be excellent. That's just our yuki mix. Oh man, this onion's strong. I feel like I'm gonna cry. Alright, I'm gonna save. Oh, it's falling apart over here. Okay, so that's all for the yuki. Now while I get this out, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this. Now, this is the onion that I'm cutting for meat. I'm gonna cut it, I'm not gonna say paper thin, but it's pretty thin. I'd say maybe, 1/8 of an inch slices, and then once I get those down to a manageable size, then I'll cross cut them. Now we're doing this recipe today for 2 pounds of beef. My man Jake, the man behind the camera here, is super hungry, so 1 pound of beef is just not gonna do. He's probably gonna eat a whole pound himself, and I might as well. This is gonna be really good. So if you are making this for 1 pound of beef, then I would say the amount of onion you need is probably gonna be only about 1/4 of a small onion, whereas this was maybe more of a 1/3. Like most things in cooking, you just kind of go with what you think. If you have a little bit more onion, it's not really going to hurt anything. If you don't have quite enough, it's probably not going to be that big of a deal either. You just want to make sure you get that flavor in there. So as you see, the pieces are much finer that are going in the meat than are going to be fried up with the other vegetables. So I'll grab a pan to fry that up real quick. Let me show you this. This is how you know you're a G in the kitchen. is if your pots and pans hang from the ceiling. So any real chef I know, they got their pans hanging up. I've had this thing forever. I can't remember where I got it. So pans hanging up. Got the portrait that someone pencil drew of my old man right there. Shout out to Kim Myers. Got my one Hun portrait my brother-in-law Joe gave me. So, you know, my dad was the one that taught me how to cook, so I just kind of have him here, like, watch over me, making sure I'm doing it right. I'm sure there's probably always a better way, right, Kim? All right, so our veggies, we're gonna start that on medium. Get some olive oil in there. Go ahead and put these onions on here just to make room for the green pepper so I can get it chopped up. One of the toughest things about cooking is kind of cleaning up as you go. It's easy to just like make a huge mess and then at the end try to clean it up, but try to kind of piece away at it. Because inevitably there's going to be stuff everywhere. There's onions already on the floor. Oh man, that is crispy. This just came out of the garden today. Green pepper, you can't smell that through the camera, but if you could, you would know. The green pepper from the garden smells so much better than one you get from the store. So we got a little spot down there. So in all my years of cooking, all this chopping and moving stuff around, I don't think that I've ever cut my hand or my finger. I'm probably gonna jinx myself. I don't think I've ever cut my hand with a knife. But I do have a big scar right here. You probably can't see it, but I had a bunch of stitches there where I did cut my hand really bad. And I'm gonna tell you guys a story while I'm chopping this up. So I was probably 19 years old, and my now wife, who at the time was my girlfriend, Julie Myers, she was Julie Swick at the time, I just started dating her. And my dad, he was going out of town or something where he wasn't gonna be home, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna have my new girlfriend over at his house, we're gonna be grown-ups and sneak some alcohol even though we're not old enough to drink. And I can't remember what my plan was to get beer or whatever, but I remember she showed up and she had a bottle of Aftershock. I don't know if you guys remember the Aftershock. It's like a cinnamon liquor. Do people still drink that, Jake? No? Well, it used to be this like cinnamon liquor. It tasted terrible, of course. Tasted kind of like fireballs. And there was like crystals in the bottom, like sugar crystals or something. But the rumor always was like that if you got the crystals out, it was pure alcohol, which is probably total BS, right? I heard people always say, but anyway, she brought this bottle of Aftershock she'd saved from like a party or something. And of course she was like, gave me that look like, well, are you gonna get the crystals out for us? Of course, well, I'm gonna try. So I took the bottle of Aftershock and I have it upside down and I'm like hitting it, I'm like, man, I can't get these out. I couldn't get a knife in there to reach it. So then I got the bright idea to pick up my dad's wooden chopping block and I started hitting it on top of the bottle like this. Well, one time when I hit it too hard, the glass, the Aftershock bottle shattered in my hand, only because I was holding it so tight, my hand just closed on the glass. And it just like punctured my hand with this huge piece of glass. I bled everywhere, had to go to the ER. And of course then I also had to tell my mom why I got stitches. So Mom, if you're watching this, cover your ears, but I lied to my mom and told her that I tripped and fell in a parking lot leaving our town video store. Towns used to have video stores like Blockbuster, only this was like the kind of mom and pop's version of it. So I told her I tripped and fell leaving the video store and went to get a movie, and there was a beer bottle in the parking lot and I cut my hand with the beer bottle. So, sorry Mom, I lied. It was actually a bottle of Aftershock, and that's why I had to get stitches in my hand at one time. Alright, so now we got onions and peppers in there. We need them to cook down a little bit. I'm gonna add just a little bit of garlic, salt, and pepper. Once they get to where they're almost done, we're gonna add the corn and the basil and cilantro. You don't have to add fresh herbs. You never want to add until the very end when you're sautéing, because you don't want them to cook too thoroughly. You want them to retain some of their moisture. And corn, you don't want to overcook that, so I'm just going to slice it off there and put it in when this stuff is almost done. So in the meantime, now I'm going to make my seasoning mix for the meat. Didn't mean to do that. Make my seasoning mix for the beef and start mixing it up. Okay. The base of the seasoning mix is going to be paprika. Now you can shake it out, you can put it in a spoon, but I just kind of do everything in my hand right here. And you're going to use about a tablespoon per pound of beef. We'll say that's 1 tablespoon roughly. And there's about 2 tablespoons. So that's about what a tablespoon will look like in your palm. After the paprika, we need salt, and I'm going to go with a couple teaspoons. Say there's 1 teaspoon. There's 2. Cumin, we just need about a half a teaspoon. Oh, that's a little bit too much. Cumin. We got some fresh ground pepper. I usually go 1 shake or one turn per quarter pound, so we're gonna go 8 turns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. That's just kind of my guesstimation that I use. And let's see, where was I? Oh, some oregano. Oregano, kind of like cumin. You know, it's very strong, so you don't need a lot. We're gonna go with about a half a teaspoon. Boom. This garlic is also out of my garden. And I usually go 2 cloves per pound of beef, so we got, 2 pounds, so we're gonna go 4 cloves. Take your knife, kind of crush the side of it, cut the bottom off. That's gonna help you get the outer wrapper off. I'm gonna slice it nice and thin. Not quite as thin as in Goodfellas. I don't even remember that famous scene in Goodfellas where they're in prison and they're Paulie slicing the garlic with a razor. He said, yeah, it makes it so thin it liquefies in the oil. They're making the spaghetti. He says, not too many onions in the sauce. So we're gonna slice it thin, but not quite that good. All right, now that along with the onion that we got diced up is gonna make the seasoning mix for the beef. You want to stir your onions and peppers every couple minutes. And don't just move them around. You want to get under them, kind of flip it so those ones are at the bottom. They're cooking a little bit faster. Kind of get moved to the top. There we go. Always put a little bit of parsley, dried parsley in the seasoning mix for the beef also. About a tablespoon there, not too much. Alright, so we'll let this pan heat up on medium. Throw some olive oil in there. Once that olive oil gets hot, we're going to put our 2 pounds of beef in there. Let it brown, kind of mix it up. Once it's almost all the way brown, we're going to add the onion, the garlic, and the seasoning mix. By then we should be adding our herbs to the onions and peppers, along with the corn. Watch too, when you look at your veggies, if it looks like they're sticking or drying out a little bit, at some point just add a little more oil to them. Very carefully, kind of shave the corn off like that. Go in the yuki when it's close to being done. I think a kernel of corn just accidentally went in the meat pan and it's popping, so that means it's time to put the meat into. 80-20, 90-10. I usually go with 85-15 though. I I like to go with the 80-20 just because I add the olive oil to it as well. But 90-10 is a little bit dry, so that's what I usually go with. Let that cook down on that side for a second before we start breaking it up. Now here's the key for whenever you're chopping up herbs. I got a bunch of fresh basil and cilantro, fresh out of the garden. I'm gonna take it and almost kind of roll it up into a big ball. And once I got it in that big ball, that big bunch, I'm kind of readjusting my hand each time to make sure I get it all trapped in there. And that right there, folks, is how you chop cilantro and basil. Boom. Brown on the other side. Now once it browns on both sides, then you're just going to take your spatula. I couldn't think of the word there. You're going to take this big metal thing and then really start chopping it up. And then once you got it all chopped up, cooking brown, that's when you add your seasoning mix, your onions, garlic, spices, and then just kind of let it simmer. You might even need to add a little bit of water if it seems like it's dried out a little. Now, there's already going to be a lot of juice on the salad from the meat and from the onions and peppers, so you don't really need a lot of dressing, but we're just going to take one lime. That juice from one lime. Add some sriracha. And that'll be our spicy dressing that we'll just kind of spoon over top of the lettuce. We won't put a ton of it on there. Now this is the only part of making tacos that gets kind of tedious, chopping the beef up. Usually, you know, if my wife was here, I would tell her to come do this part because I hate doing this part. So even if I'm making everything else, I'll say, Joel, can you please come brown this meat for me? And she'll do because she's a team player and she knows the tacos are going to be worth it. So. Once you get it broken up a little bit, let it cook a little bit longer, then you break it up some more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move it to the back burner on low. I'm going to bring this up to the big burner up here. So with a head of romaine lettuce like this, I always kind of cut it vertically first. And once I've put 3 or 4 vertical slices in it, you can turn it. I like the lettuce in my salad to be small pieces. I don't like big, huge chunks of lettuce, especially something like this where kind of the focus is the the meat and stuff that's going to be on it. When the meat's almost done, if it's looking like it's starting to dry up a little bit, you're just going to add just a little bit of water in there and kind of allow that to almost make like a sauce that'll thicken up. That's probably about 2 ounces. I'm going to add another ounce or 2. Then I'm just going to. That's your hack for the avocado. If you pull the little stem off, and if it's green or yellow right there, that means it's not rotten. You know, you'll get avocados that'll be rotten. You pull that off and that's brown, and that means when you open it up, it's gonna be brown. But look at that, perfect. Get that seed out of there, stab it, pull it right out. All right, the meat looks like it's done. The yuki's done. Time to dress up these salads. Here we go, healthy, homemade taco salad. This would be even better in a taco shell, but I guarantee you're not even gonna miss the shell. We got the lettuce under there. We got our meat with our onion and garlic mixture. We got the yuki, which is the onions, peppers, corn, cilantro, and basil. A little bit of goat cheese, some avocado, and just a little bit of salsa kind of drizzled over the top. I'm ready to crush. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to check out all my editions of Muscle Meals. Go to maxevertmuscle.com. All your training needs, all your cooking needs. Get your mind right. Let's go.